Today we're going to look at the oil pan and see what it, pull the oil pan down and see what it looks like. The other day I drained the oil out, and so now it's empty, and I'm going to take the 20 bolts off and drop the oil pan down, look inside, and just take a look at it was rebuilt in 1962, and just see what it looks like now, 60 years later. And so we'll get to it. Okay, we're under the Model A engine. We're going to drop this pan off. It's about 20 half-inch bolts. I got the jack handy because there's a pan in here they call a dipper pan, and it holds like a cup of oil in each, for each bottom of the rod. As it comes down, it dips into that little bit of oil, and then there's a space, and then there's the bottom of the pan. So when you drain, it's actually still holding some oil up there. And you know, this is gonna be kind of heavy, so I have a jack handy and a pan. Okay, I got the pan off, dropped it with the jack slowly, and set it over on the bench. And let me bring the camera in here. Okay, let's start up here at the front. See the cam gear. It's got a little bit of crud or something right there in there. But the teeth look nice and sharp and crisp. There's the actual cam gear, and if I roll back a little bit, there's the camshaft and the lobes. I'm not sure if this is a new camshaft when he rebuilt it in '62. Yeah, they look nice, and they got a lot of lift on them, and maybe a little bit of pitting on them, but I'm gonna run with it. And there's #1 piston. It looks like a new piston, or just in really good shape. And maybe a little bit of surface rust on the rod. And it's pinned, cotter pinned, castle nut. Looks good. You can see here where they drill out when they're balancing. They take weight off by drilling it out. There's #2, cotter pin, and you can see these little things right here. These are the dippers. So when it comes down in the pan, I'll show you the pan in a minute, they can scoop up a little bit of oil. So like this thing right here scoops up a little bit of oil and brings it into the crankshaft bearing, or the babbitt. There's the little dipper scoop. Center main. They use these big square bolts. #3. Looks like it's got cotter pin on it. Good. Cotter pin's still good. Dipper. And #3 piston's way up there. It looks nice and clean. #4. that's just the background. It's got a pin, cotter pin, a little bit rusty. At least it's a cotter pin. And the piston looks brand new. And here's the rear weight. They've drilled it out, but you can see it's kind of got some rust on it. Just a little layer. Yeah, that's so much steel that the little rust isn't going to hurt it. And this is the rear main drain tube. Right here where it attaches to the rear main cap, people can bang this and it'll break off or pinch off. So you want to make sure these are attached firmly and not pinched off. And then there's this little plate right here that you have to take off to get at the rear main. I don't think I started taking it off. I don't know. I may go ahead and open it up. But let's check out. Here's the oil pump. See, there's a screen, metallic screen filter, 4 bolts, and then the shaft that goes up, and it goes up right there and mounts inside. And then on the side of the engine here, before dropping the pan, I tightened this in. This was in the engine, so I just used it. That keeps the pump from falling out. So when you go to put the oil pump back in, you can tighten that and it'll stay, and then you can bring the oil pan up without fighting that. Take a look at the oil pan. You can see the dipper trays. This is the double tray thing I was talking about in the oil pan. The little rope seal over here, where this is the front, and there's a little groove that the rope seal sits in. And then this pan sits here that the dippers, as the rods come down, they scoop up a little bit of oil. But you can see, this was I guess brand new oil in 1962, and then it's just a little bit of crud built up, rust. And then down there's the spring for the oil pump at the bottom of the pan, and a little bit of crud down under there. Try to clean up some of that rust or gunk or whatever that is. But that's the oil pan for now. Okay, I think I'm going to take this little pan off and take a look at the rear main seal while I got it down. And then I'll put the pan back on, I think. So I'm going to pull that pan off, those 3 bolts. Okay, I got the cover off, and looking inside there, see the front side of the flywheel. There's the rear main caps. Don't appear to have cotter pins in it. And they're castle nuts, so I think they should. And there's the seal that the pan sits in. I think I'm gonna leave it alone, but those. There's no cotter pins in those. I've seen people use wire and twist the wire to keep it from turning also, instead of a cotter pin. Interesting. See the wire that they use to bolt the engine block to the bell housing, where they wired them all together. I don't know why they didn't do anything on that. Anyways, I gotta check that out. Alrighty. Okay, we're gonna try to take a look at this oil pan. Little thing to dump the oil out into. Let's see what it looks like as we're dumping it. Some of it looks pretty cruddy. See the blob coming out. And there's a lot of sparklies in it. So I'm not sure what kind of shape the rabbits are in on this. Those sparklies are not good. I don't know if you can see them on the camera. See if I can pan a little better. But see the little gold flakes and stuff in there. That's not good. Wipe it down a little bit. Interesting that. More towards the back here. Metallic. Now this could just be breaking. Better shot of that. If you can see the little see the little reflective gold particles in the oil, so that's not good. Okay, I'm gonna do a close-up of the dipper tray, which you can see right there, the little dents that go into the grooves on the that's a dipper tray, and this is where 1, 2, 3, 4. So where the rods come down and dip out of, and then this is what the pan looks like. And on this pan, I know in the Les Andrews book, he says this spring mounts to the bottom of the oil pump, but on this, the spring seems to be mounted in the oil pan. So I don't know what the difference is. But now I gotta clean this mess up.